And we are live.
All right, what is up, beautiful people? It's Wolf Brother Mythos Kush Renata from the channel Frost and Fist.
And I am Freakaliciousness.
And that beautiful beard over there is...
Phil from Wargamer Online. Hello, everyone.
Woo!
All right, and welcome to this show, this Saturday special live chat. And we have, of course, an icon in the community online today.
Don't.
So it is awesome to have Phil join us today, and he is here with some big news. So where have you been today, Phil?
Well, I was at Warhammer Fest 2019 Mythos, and it was pretty amazing. It's been a good day, actually. A long day, but a good day.
What time did you get out there?
Incredibly busy.
What time did you get out there?
Well, it started at 10 o'clock, so we kind of think we get there early. So we were there for about 8:15, something like that. You know, a nice 1 hour 45 before it started, and we were a good 300 people back from the doors, I think. And by the time they opened the doors, there was at least another 500-600 behind us. It was crazy.
That sounds massive, just a massive event out there.
Yeah.
Before we get into too much detail about Warhammer Fest, though, I just want to take a second to talk about this empire that you have started. You know, I started watching. I'm a huge fan of Wargamer Online, guys, and I've started watching when you guys were just 100 subs, and I have just been a massive fan ever since. And,
that was what,
and
2 days?
You're a mite bigger than that now.
That was like 2 days, 100 subs. Third day, 5,000.
We've been going, there was a definite big spike at the start, without a doubt. I think we hit the ground running, which was good, and a lot of people were like, hey, where did you guys come from? But we spent about 6 months. We didn't do the whole let's start a YouTube channel and kind of build as we went along. We spent about 6 months getting ready for that. So there was a lot of work going into kind of doing all the graphics and those kind of things. And we shot a whole bunch of tutorials, and we launched a website at the same time as well. So it kind of all went boom, and we were really lucky because there was a lot of people like yourself that kind of you hooked us up to a lot of your fans, and you know Nick and stuff like that were all kind of saying, hey, go and check these guys out, they're new on the scene. And yeah, we definitely had a bit of a boom. So it was fantastic. It took us completely by surprise. You hope that something will happen, and it's been I think it's nice and steady growth now. And I think it's really nice to know that people just keep coming along to see what you do. Basically, we've not just I don't think we've pulled any cheap tricks. We've not done any clickbaiting. We've not done any nonsense. We just keep making content, and people keep coming along, which is great. I really like that.
And you mentioning that you did a different approach to most channels. I mean, there's a lot of us who do the jump in and try and figure it out as we go along, but you guys really putting in quality before you even put yourself out there on the scene. I think your progress is a real testament to that's the right way to do it.
Yeah, well, maybe we didn't realize how much we still had to learn. Definitely, but anybody who doesn't watch a YouTube, I always frown when I see somebody launch a YouTube channel and they're doing great content, and then some crazy troll starts having a go at the quality of the lighting and those kind of things. It's like, seriously, just try it. You just try it, because it's hard work. It's really hard work, and you really do spend a lot of time getting the shows ready and prepping everything. And I know that Free could definitely back me up on this one, because he's the one that puts in all the time. So you guys are seamless when you go live. It's amazing. So and that's like a lot of work to get there. And you always have those crazies that everything goes wrong about 30 seconds before, but there's a lot of work goes into it. So even if anybody who has a go at it, I commend them, because it's hard work and it's a lot of work. And but it's really nice when people do come along with sort of genuine supporters who come along and comment and like and share and give you loads of positive feedback, or even sometimes negative feedback, like, hey, don't do that again, that was a rubbish show. I don't mind those things at all, because they just help you keep growing and keep moving forward. So yeah, it's good fun.
It's something that I really was encouraged by watching your especially your live streams, because you guys were really seamless, and I know you put a ton of work, and I was like, how is he I'm sitting there drooling, and I'm the IT guy, right? But I've always done, pre-recorded stuff, and I can do a lot of really cool manipulation, a lot of really good editing, offline, off stream. But when you're going live, I mean, as well as I do, there's a lot of dynamics that are going on at one time. You're doing all the controlling, you're doing the scene changing and the settings, and I'm watching you just going, okay, and yeah, and we're gonna go to this, and boom, there's the camera angle. We're gonna go to this, boom, they're like, oh my gosh, he's doing it live. How does he, and I'm like, how is he playing that intro before he even goes on? I'm like, how though? How? And I'm just drooling. Mythos would tell you, I kept asking him, okay, there's sorcery there. There's absolute sorcery because he's the only channel
conversations went the same way. Like, well, I've got this part of it figured out, but what bothers me is I can't figure out this part. And I said, Phil's a great guy. You could just send him a message. I want to bother him. Yes. We'll have the exact same conversation 2 days later. Well, I figured out this other new part, but what's bothering me is I can't figure out this. I'm like, Phil's a great guy. You could just message him.
Like, I don't want to bother him. He's
I mean, and thank goodness you did reach out, because you did message me for help on something, and I'm, as you know, more than happy to give a hand, because it's a great community. And I think everybody kind of helps each other out. There's no. It's crazy to keep anything secret. If we're working on something new and we're trying to get it absolutely right, and sometimes we've been a little bit tight-lipped about how we've done some stuff. But once it's out there, we're more than happy to share and kind of say this is how it's done. But you work in IT. It's a lot of Googling. It's a lot of hard work, and it's lots of trying to do something with the software it's not really meant to do.
Right.
That's you keep pushing it, don't you? Every little time you just push it that little bit more and see what happens.
Yeah. It was a huge eye opener after I chatted with you, and I was like, man, I don't want to bother him, man. He's a busy man, and I just felt really uncomfortable bothering him. I was like, all right, I'll text him, and he'll probably be like, who is this? How'd you get my number? That kind of thing. And so I was so encouraged, that you didn't say that, and I was like, hey, Mythos, he freaking said hi. I'm like fanboying here. Mythos uber fanboy, but I'm like, he said hi. He said hi to me. He said hi.
No, stop it, because it's crazy. It's crazy. People are just people, and we're all just trying to have fun with this hobby. I think within about 10 minutes of you texting me, the screen shares were up. My wife's going, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just talking this guy through this. And we were screen sharing like the back end of OBS and stuff like that. So we're going, Dave, you do this and click that and do that. And you just like, hopefully those things have helped you anyway.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they put us in a whole different level, especially in the stream, the whole stream section of it. And I shared this with you earlier this week, when we had Nick on. Okay, when it's just Mythos and I, right, I created the circular frames where our images would come through for the overlay. Okay, that looks great. But then the moment we put Nick on there, I'm like, I was fighting Mythos. I was like, man, this is not going well. And he goes, well, why don't you try doing this and this? And I'm like, I can't right now. This is the last minute. I can't change this. Well, you can do this and this and this. It's just not going to work, because originally I was going to leave the 2 circles there and put Nick as a square on the right. And he was like, man, it's just going to make our guests look kind of wonky. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know, but I don't know what to do. I don't have time to do this. And he's like, well, I don't know, man. I'm like, fine. You know what? I'm going to leave it as a circle. I'll deal with a slight overlap, and we'll just go from there. And it wasn't too bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would, but I hate it because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to stuff like that, and there was a little bit of his square popping up through both me and Mythos' circle. So square hole round, or square peg round hole,
Don't do it. Just don't.
So
we make our own lives really difficult sometimes.
We are square now.
I can have 17 cameras, and then you just realize you need like a supercomputer to handle that stuff. And I've just ground my machine to a halt, and it's like, okay, this doesn't
17
work.
cameras? Seriously?
At one point we were trying, I think we had multiple, we had dice cameras, and there was a multiple angle on the dice. There was like a player cam each in the studio. And there was 2 like isometric cameras four isometric cameras looking from each corner, 2 overhead cameras at a different zoom. It was insane.
And you were pushing all those USB into a computer?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Oh my God! We were already blaming, Rob from the Miniatures Paintbrush, right? He's at the verge of putting together this massive supercomputer that we think is going to take out the entire Northeast grid, and we blame him for this because he's really saying, I mean, he's sharing with us the kind of machine he's putting together, and it's this massive supercomputer that I think will probably destroy IBM one day. And he's as he's sharing this, I'm like, dude, if my power goes out, I'm coming after you.
Yeah, it's I found my setup in the studio, for instance, which is all USB driven cameras, and it's so we can do the live, multi-camera bat reps. And if we plug them in the wrong order, it doesn't work. There's a specific order they have to plug in, and they all work.
Oh my
god! It's just that's hours and hours of trial and error to get that to work. It's crazy. There's probably, if I knew more about IT, there's probably a way around that. But right now, it's unplug them all and plug them all back in a certain order.
Oh my god! And what do you use? You use like the Logitechs, or you use other type of bullet cameras?
A mixture. The Logitechs are your friends, definitely, because a lot of those can run simultaneously. So, right. There was a store in the UK that did a Christmas deal on the Logitech Brios, which were the 4K ones. So we grabbed like 4 of those when they were going for a ridiculous price, because you can still pick them up for probably about $130, $140. I'm translating to dollar for your US audience. But they go for about $240 or something like that, those cameras. But I got them for, let me do the quick math. Yes, about $75, $80 each. So,
nice.
So it was like this store that was doing a clear out Christmas, like a Black Friday sale or something. So that forms the backbone of a lot of it. And because the 4K gives you that room to do stuff, and they've got really nice high dynamic range and stuff. But then the dice cameras and stuff like that are using kind of lower resolution ones, because you want the lower resolution. You don't need it because you don't go full screen with the dice cams.
Right.
You want that lower resolution so the processor can handle it. I'm not sure this is what you guys want to talk about tonight, but hey, maybe we should do another.
I mean, this is fascinating. But no, you went to Warhammer Fest, and you definitely got some skinny on a lot of good information there at that GW has been tempting the entire community with. Here,
just to catch up on the chat before we get into our main topic there. Hell Works by Hellchild. So Brother Thomas says, what's testing today? Running Bear says, hi, guys. Brother Thomas says, there's his iconic beard. Beard in the house. Nerdopolis Prime says, finally a show not at 3 in the morning. Glad to have you, Brother Thomas.
Sorry, man.
Brother Thomas says, you have well-deserved growth over at Wargamer Online.
Yep.
Oh, thank you. Well, he meant the beard, but thank you.
You had him at beard.
He also comments that something is black magic. I would assume it's the beard. X Gear Commander says, hello all. Good to see you, my man.
What's going on, bud?
I would like to proudly say that is a friend of mine that I do know from the local community. It's always awkward when I can't see the person.
He was like, who are you?
Hey, you.
Hey there, buckaroo. You.
Judge Gudge popped up as well. I mean, he's one of the most incredible painters out there, and I'm assuming he's put something in on Golden Demon today. So, Judge, if you can maybe message me an image of what you may have entered, that'd be great. I'll try and get it over to Mythos. Oh, actually, with Freak, I'll get it over to. So I think you're the man.
That would be amazing.
That would be awesome. My gosh. And,
Brother Daz says, "Oi there, folks," and Judge Gudge says, "Hi all," and Captain Morgan 4 Games says, "Hey guys, have a good one. I'll watch tomorrow as I'm at a 50th and can't hear anything." Oh,
just turn it up. Just plug it into a huge boom box. Hey guys, y'all be quiet. Listen to this. So yeah.
All right. So, sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to
Oh,
get
I'm
that
good, bro.
the main topic.
The
But
chat.
lead on, Phil.
All right. So, brother Phil, you said you actually took some pictures while you were there, yeah?
Yep. I think I've sent them over. So, do you wanna bring them up? And
I
well,
will. All right, let me pop it up.
there's quite a few images, but I think we can get through them quite quickly. So that was our position at the queue when we arrived. If you're on the first
Yes,
image,
sir.
yeah.
Yep.
And you see that sort of brick wall at the end there. The entrance is still another 50 yards or so round the corner of that wall. So,
Oh my gosh.
and there was two queues at that point. That was the queue for everybody with a standard ticket, and the other queue was golden ticket holders and tournament entrants,
Ooh.
of which there was probably a couple hundred people in that queue as well.
Oh my.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy. It's the first time I've been on a Saturday in quite a few years, because we normally go on the Sunday for the Golden Demon results, basically. The second day tends to be more about that competition, and I really like the painting competition. So, but this weekend I was unavailable to make it out there.
That's
And
crazy.
well, I mean, if you want to move on to the next one, this was really all about. There was an entire room dedicated to the new paints, basically. And what I did, I sat at a table. You got 10 pots of the new paints on every table. You had 2 miniatures each, which were primed in the 2 new primers.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bone-like primer and there's a white-grey primer. You know, very similar to the previous one. And depending on what that base primer is, you get a different result. And you know, this Seraphim here that you're looking at on yellow,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much guaranteed was probably on that bone white, because it kind of gives a creamier feel to it rather than a grey feel, if you like. So
That yellow is so vibrant.
it's incredible, and that's one coat. You know, I mean, they've worked. I spoke to the studio painters afterwards and said, you know, the stuff on display, a lot of them were just a single coat of the new paint effect. So then you know how tricky yellow is. That's a great, even if you're a Golden Demon painter. And I was chatting to a couple of the Golden Demon painters about the new paints. I think they'll appeal in 2 ways to people. If you've got a sea of grey plastic on your desk, then seriously, this is something new on the market. It reminds me a little bit of Watercolor's gel paints, but they're gel paints that are taken down almost to a glaze, but they're so incredibly pigment rich. And they smell exactly like the 1980s Citadel paints, but behave very different. For instance, you can't put a wet brush into the pot because it creates a reaction. So you have to wash your brush, dry the bristles, and then go back for more paint.
Is it not acrylic anymore?
I can't even tell you. It was water-based because you could clean your brush with water.
Okay.
But adding water to the paint messes it up, and so much so that they've released a specific medium for thinning it down and blending. I mean, let's just move on to some of the images, and we'll kind of jump for you and you'll get a sense of it. Second one on the Seraphim, you're seeing kind of more like the muddy shell, and that's using 2 or 3 different layered up, basically. And then the third image along, I think you're seeing the lighter colored one. Mm-hmm. And then if we go to say the fourth image, where I'm getting this Carnosaur,
yes,
you're kind of seeing the orange, blue, and purples. Most of those are single coats. Talking to the painters, they may have dropped that's a single coat going over primer.
You're kidding. So this is all single coat right after prime, and it looks and they look like they. Let me ask you this now: have they been washed, or did they put washes on them?
Well, that's the thing is, you put it on thick, and it's a wash, a base color, kind of a glaze. It's hard to describe.
It's an all-in-one then.
Yeah, it's all in one. You just blob and you get a load of it on your brush, and you just paint it on, and it runs into the recesses, and it exposes the highlights. And that's why that base primer is important, because if you want like that orange, you definitely want the bone color because it's creamier. If you had the gray, it would be quite a pale orange.
Yeah.
Whereas that base is adding some additional color to it. So I had a go. I've got some photos of the model I painted. I literally spent, I'd say, 90 seconds on it.
That orange is incredible, because again, orange is another one that's hard to, anybody can paint orange, but it's hard to keep it that vibrant.
Right.
Yet you still, in all the, like you said, that incorporated wash, every scale pops out like they've done a wash.
Yeah. Look at the claw. Look at that.
I don't know if that's a natural shade from the lighting there at the display, or if it's that lower region actually looks a little browner. But
Yeah, it looks like
can-
it's been dry brushed. I mean, it
Yeah.
looks like there's a lot of detail that went into this.
You can leave it on thicker. So this is the thing: is if you paint it on thin, it's lighter. If you paint it on thicker, it goes darker.
oh wow,
And you're literally putting it on like you're ruining the model. And this is what I'm saying. It's got some properties similar to the watercolor gel paints, because the gel paints can look really thick on the model, but when the gel dissolves, the kind of pigment drops down to the model. So it has a similar effect. You move on to the next image. I think you see Mortarion.
Man.
And again, move on again, because I think I don't
Yep.
want to spend all night on this.
Yep,
but
yep.
you can see the thing. I think to me, this one where you're looking at the tank, and I can't remember what it's called, a death crawler or something like that.
Mhm.
Someone will know. I think you start to see that its limitations on this model. So I think it's good of them to do. It still looks effective,
Right.
but the highlighting and shading is nothing to do with where highlights and shades would be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at that. You look at the blade at the front,
Right.
and it's shaded in the center areas, and it gets lighter as it gets towards the edge.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it like I say, if you have got a sea of plastic, grey plastic, this is brilliant because you're painting this stuff in minutes.
Right.
If you're a painter already, then I see this range of paints as additional tools in the toolkit, but they're not the replace every paint you own already. Definitely not. You know, because I just, you know, there's some situations where a wash doesn't work, you know, and that blade is a good example of where it doesn't work. If we go on to the next one, that's the rear of Mortarion's wings.
Mhm.
Now you are using 2 or 3 different colors there.
Right.
And I have to say, when I tried them myself, the browns were amongst the most impressive. The greens weren't getting a particularly good response amongst. There was a couple of painters either side of me, and there were. Bear in mind, we were only trying 10 of the 32, I think, in the range.
Mm.
So, you know, we didn't see them all, but the ones that were on the pots in front of us, the greens were getting a lukewarm response. The browns were incredible. The blues were quite strong. And there was a red that was just sheer beautiful. I think that was Mephiston red. So, you know, based on that.
Yeah. So they blended okay with each other. I mean, you didn't have.
Again, they'll blend okay with each other, and they'll layer on top okay with each other, but they do recommend the medium to almost wet glaze the transition, if you like, you know?
Yeah.
So if you move on, I think I took another one of Mortarion's wings from a distance, and then go again, and I think that's the close-up of the tank. And
the tank, yeah.
I think you see my point there. It is working. It's just not working as, you know, you've got those, you can see where it's shaded that upper surface. And yes, it's in recesses, so it kind of stands out. Yeah. But at the same time, it doesn't quite look right, does it?
Right.
Right.
You know, you wouldn't like that.
Friend.
Pardon?
I was just saying flat surfaces are not its friend.
Yeah. Moving on, I think we could probably skip that one with the little flyer, and you know, there's a couple of close-ups of the Seraphons that I thought were worth taking, because you can see, you know, what's going off with those, the recesses in between the scales there.
Yeah, that is amazing, especially underneath the armor with the scales on the lower side. That is just incredible, and it looks like this would take me a very, very long time to go in there with Seraphim Sepia, you know, and start you know, doing that that pin washing.
Yeah, and because they're gel based, they dry quite quick. I think there's, like I say, there's a gel element. I could be wrong, but they have that consistency of some of the gel paints that were out there in the market. Only they're far. In fact, the closest, if anybody out there has tried the Watercolor One Coat paints, they're the closest thing I've used recently, if you like, to these paints. But seriously, they are unique. I've not come across a paint like this, and you know, nobody at the tables were kind of going, oh yeah, you know, this is just Games Workshop's answer to this. This really did feel like a game changer,
right?
But certainly for army painting, you know, to me, this kind of like is one up on the dip. You know, they paint the flat color and drop it in the dip. Mm-hmm. This is one up because the tonally you're doing all this variation that really works. And you know, to be fair, I'm just looking at the back of the big lizard, the Carnosaur. Mm-hmm. You know, to be fair, you can kind of see that they've not hid what the result would be. You know, they kind of did say, look, we've just painted these to show you what the paints look like. So you've not had a golden demon guy come along and throw a few edge highlights on those, you know. I want to move on because there was this model here, and I think the first image is not great actually. So let's just move on to the second one.
Okay.
And this is this Slanesh. I can't remember the name of the beastie.
The one with the long neck.
Yeah, the one with the long neck. Yeah. A seeker. It's a seeker, isn't it?
Oh,
this
that thing
was
was cool.
The photo does it no justice whatsoever because this was incredible. And I gave this I was trying to show the close-up scrutiny I gave with my eyes, sort of thing, and this was amazing. This was all one color.
That's insane.
That's just one color. It's that you see the kind of purple in the background there, or the pink. You know, it was just that put on in different thicknesses and doubled up as a coat.
That's amazing.
I mean, the saddle's different. You can see the brown that the saddle's in. Again, they were the colors that we used, and then of course you can see the technical contrast medium. So that's what you have to use to blend and wash into each other. So those 3 pots in the back of what has been used to produce that result in approximately 4 minutes. 4 to 5 minutes.
That's fantastic.
The guy who was demonstrating it was running out of models. It was like mid-morning. He was like, "I'm going to have to go get some more models," because it was so quick.
Wow.
And just moving on, I think I'm going to click on twice because you can see a few more Slanesh models.
Yep.
And really, the one on the right there, the two, if you're on the 2 demonettes, the one on the right, he used that as an example of where if you start to introduce some edge highlighting, how it can still punch out. So you'll notice a bit of edge highlighting on the armor, and there's a bit of edge highlighting on the hair. Unfortunately, I didn't get a great shot of it. But, a tabletop standard, it's like tabletop plus, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
So moving on, I think demonettes again. Let's just click on again.
I mean, even those demonette faces look good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Faces are not easy to paint, but I mean, that looks pretty good.
How the skin's go. So I'm on the demonette again. That highlighted demonette just on its own in the middle. I don't know whether you're looking at the same one, Freak, but
yes, one in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, one in the middle. Yeah. So again, you can see where the edge highlight's been done over the armor. But even so, just look at those skin tones. That really works. And like you said, Mythos, the faces were amazing.
What I'm really impressed with, Phil, is the fact that because actual skin is luminescent. And slightly translucent, and it really captures that.
Absolutely, it's basically one paint over a primer.
Wow.
Let's click on. This was my favorite, definitely, and he openly admitted he spent a bit more time on this. So this is about 5 minutes a model. He was saying 5 to 10 minutes a model. And he said, Beastman, it was kind of forgiving because you can kind of see where he did the wash on the little bracelet around his neck, and you can see how the necklace and you can see how he's hit the skin a little bit with that. But he was just using different browns over the top. If you look at the models primed in the background there, I know they're out of focus, but that's the bony colored primer that they've released. So you can see there's a kind of yellowy, greeny, creamy tint to it.
What kind of is a primer any special, or are they just like regular primer for the models?
You get the primer in spray cans, so just like you get the Chaos Black, and it's coming out in the spray can. And then they've also released exactly the same primer or the same pigment makeup as a base paint. So you can, if you want to, for instance, one of the things we were discussing at the painters table was, so what happens if you want the creamy base underneath, say, flesh tones, but you want the gray base underneath some armor, then arguably what you could do is spray whatever the majority base is, spray that, and then hand paint the other one back on top.
Right.
And then start layering your one coats down,
Right. That is.
So moving on, I think I've got a couple of shots. I'm a little bit out of focus, so apologies. Let's just move on again. So you're rotating him around. I've now got his sort of
backside,
Yeah, so you can see it's great. It's great. It works really well. Let's just keep moving on. I think I spun him around.
Oh, that first.
A few more Beastmen there. 3 Beastmen just halfway going through. And this is what he was saying. He did 5 models in, I think he said 15 minutes, and he had 5 models complete. Yeah, but bear in mind, this is a studio painter, so his brush control is pretty solid. He's moving quick, but you can see what he's doing. He's going over the edges a little bit there. He's not working too hard on the upper stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just going to click on again. until you can probably see the next bit. And I'm conscious we probably need to speed up a bit. So
Sure.
exciting news from Lord of the Rings for me. I went over to see Rob Alderman, who heads up Lord of the Rings. And he was a local gamer in this area, and in fact ran our local store. So it's always great to see Rob. And he was super excited about these kits, these resin kits, which is essentially make your own Hobbit hole. So if we spin on, you buy those resin parts.
Mm-hmm.
I click on, you can see the doorway, and I'm sorry they're sideways.
Oh, the finished product. Oh my God.
And he said this was in response to the community basically saying there's no real Lord of the Rings terrain. You know, the scales.
Oh, wow.
And
That's awesome looking.
you know, so what I like about this is they're encouraging good old-fashioned modeling as well.
Yeah.
So you don't get the entire Hobbit hole as a plastic mound.
Right.
You get the parts to make your own Hobbit holes, and you could get like 5, 6, 7, 8 of those and make a beautiful 4x4 table, couldn't you? With just going off, the hill in Hobbiton and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't even play anything fantasy, and I want to make one of those.
I know. Me too. Hey, Mithil, did you want to catch up on the chat? We had a lot of.
We do have a lot of chat, but while Phil's on
for
the
it.
roll, I'll come back to the chat in a little bit. I do have one pertinent question, though,
Yeah.
while Phil's there. Judge Gudge wants to know, does the primer have a different texture then? He wonders how normal paint would react to that. And something I was wondering out conversely is if you had your own primer, if Freak went in with his airbrush and put a Vallejo down, would that react the same way to the new contrast paints?
I don't think the texture was important. It does. It has both of the primers were textured very similar to the white primer that came out, and I want to say Skull White, but they renamed the white primer and made it slightly
Corax White now.
Corax White. So they were very similar to Corax White. I don't think the texture was important. It's about having a slightly different color.
Okay.
A creamy one and there's a grey one, and I think depending on, and this is what they were saying, there's 32 paints, but essentially there's 64, because as soon as you drop it over one of those different primers, you get an entire different effect. Somebody like Judge, and I spoke to some of the other Golden Demon entrants there who were basically saying they can see a million uses for this, but it probably isn't for just dabbing straight over the top of a primer, but the paints themselves have so much possibility to what you can do with them.
Incredible.
Let's jump through the Hobbit holes, just
Okay.
kind of go click and okay. So this was and like I say, literally that was about 2.5 to 3 minutes. If you're looking at the Sigmar model,
I am.
And there was no metallics on the table, so I used yellow, the golden yellow for the metallics, the red, and the blues. But and then I just dropped a brown on the base.
Wow, that's actually not a bad non-metallic metal.
I know. Oh my gosh.
I was actually walking around holding that while it dried for about 15 minutes because I'd really daubed it on the base and stuff like that, and it took ages for the base to dry. And when it finally dried, I was looking at some models at one of the demo tables, and I could see this little boy looking at the model. He was like wow, like that, and I just gave it to him. I was like, oh, you have that. So, and
Awesome. You're so cool, man. I'm thinking, I hope you didn't go and push him on the floor. Get away from there. Don't touch my model. I don't know.
As he walked off with it, I checked with his dad, he was okay. I was like, is he okay to have this? And his dad was like, well, you sure? And I was like, yeah, you can have it like this. So he grabbed it. He was like, oh, thanks.
That is
and
so cool.
As he walked off, I thought, oh, did I take some pictures?
Awesome. That is
I
so
can see
cool.
me having to track him down, but I remember actually taking some pictures before, like 20 minutes before I gave it away. So that's using greens, that's using browns, 2 different browns there. You've got the kind of parchment color behind the shaft of the weapon there.
Yeah.
The blue I wasn't so impressed with, but again, let's move on to the rear if you've not been.
The blue almost gives it a grayish. I don't know. It's something about it. How long did it take you to do this?
2 minutes, 2.5 minutes maximum.
Gotcha. Wow.
Yeah. I had all the pots open. I did the red first. I dropped the yellow one, and you can see, look, it's scruffy as hell at the edges. But I was trying to at least, stick within reason of the edges. I just wanted to see how quick I could do it.
So you think if you would have taken your time, that
if I extended that to 5 or 10 minutes, then yeah, absolutely. You'd be really. It was really crowded, and I just wanted to have a go with the paints and then get out of the way. So I was like, and a lot of people were like doing a grey arm and a blue head and a yellow leg, and for me, I wanted to kind of see what does the model look like. Can I get to something where if I was in a hurry, I just wanted to, get those models on the table.
That is crazy. Like I said, I'm so impressed that it looks the self shading is amazing in that paint, and the fact that it really kind of comes out to a non-metallic, a non-metallic adjacent. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and just to kind of point out, that was the gray base. You can actually see, I say gray, but you can see, if you're looking at the rear of the model, you can see the raw base color underneath on the edge of the base there. So like I say, it's kind of a gray. There's very little, it's a little bit cool. There's a little bit of blue in there. It's certainly not a warm gray at all. And the yellow even worked over that.
How many layers did you have to go through to get this to where?
That's one. That's just one layer everywhere.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, the red is incredible. The Mephiston red's beautiful.
I mean, this would take, especially on the gray, this would take several layers just to get it right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Even if you use this as a base, I was sort of chatting to one of the other guys and I was saying, you know what, if this was a base for red, and then you would wet blend or glaze, you probably have to glaze given the nature of the paints are a bit strange. But if you glazed highlights back up on that and then did an edge highlight, man, you're there, aren't you? That's that's incredible base coat. And you daub it on as thick as hell and it just sits down in the model. I'm just moving on to the side shot, and there's another side shot where you can kind of see the yellow armor a little bit more. And, I'm not saying this is perfect. Like I say, this was 2 minutes. So if you really have got that sea of grey plastic, seriously, Games Workshop have removed the excuse. Because, come on. If someone showed up with an army like that with the bases finished off and tidied up, you wouldn't complain playing against that, would you?
Right.
Not even a little.
No, this is...
So if I move on now, there's just one more front shot, just slightly showing, and I think we're back onto the Hobbit hole. So let's click through the Hobbit holes until we get to the end, and then maybe, that's a good time to go to the chat if you want. The last Hobbit hole, I think, hopefully, because it goes on to the Hobbit team. That last Hobbit hole is beautiful.
Wow.
Got a little pond and a little veg garden. Just wow.
Okay. Absolutely. I'm going to go through the chat while we're scrolling.
Sure, go for it.
Robert Mitchell, Moogie Pie says hello. Why, hello there. Robert Mitchell says, hey, all, studying and a little painting for a Highlander event next weekend. Good luck at your event, my man. I hope you get enough painting done. Judge Gudge says, unfortunately, I couldn't make it to Golden Demon this year, but I've got the itch, and I will try to make it next time.
Excellent.
I know it's going to be a spot-on piece, my man. Coleman says, hey, just listen on my phone while I clean the house. I hope we can make the house cleaning a little bit easier to deal with.
Right? Hey, you missed a spot.
Brother Thomas says, yellow is the devil. And he says, this is more like black magic paint. I got to agree. This is definitely some special stuff. Nerdopolis Prime says he's still a big fan of Vallejo colors. GW seems to be so uncomfortable with their paints changing them over the years. So frustrating if your prime color for your army isn't available anymore. I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
He says so catastrophic. Moogie Pie says this paint range looks better than anything he can do. So hopefully this will be a big help to you. Speaking of which, I see Brother Ethan has dropped into the chat. I know he's got a sea of gray with him. Not trying to call you out, brother, but
you just did.
Hey. Not calling you. I'm just saying that this magic paint range may be something for those amazing Imperial Guard. Archer says lots of cool stuff from this weekend. We got Elster Nation in the house, says evening all. Good to see you,
Elster Nation.
And that's it. We're finally caught up.
Sweet.
Please continue on.
Okay. I promise I might speed up a little bit because we've got,
Okay.
I'm not going to say much about the Hobbit team because people have probably seen images of it. Other than the designer behind it, an absolute gentleman. I spent a good 25 minutes chatting to this guy, and he told me the story behind every single one of these sculpts. And it also, the whole conversation started from, this doesn't look like ZBrush work. The sculpting, the digital sculpting tool. I was like, have you hand sculpted these? Because the faces are incredible. And he was like, no, it's ZBrush work. And he talked about his kind of design philosophy. And he's just an amazing guy. And he does stunning work. And you can see the lack of symmetry in his models, which is what gives them so much character. And he kind of talked about how that was important. But every single one of these guys, I'm just going to click on to the Deep Root Strong Branch. You can see this kind of tree man construct.
Yep.
Where he's just fantastic. But again, you can see those faces, the little hobbit in the corner there, screaming for it. And he kind of tells the story that the hobbits, they usually don't survive more than one game. So if they do, so most of them are in tin pots and stuff, but if they're wearing an actual helmet, it usually means they've survived a game and gone out and brought some, they've got some proper equipment because they're really getting into it. For the rest of the guys, and I'm just moved on to the next shot, and you can see one of the hobbits there with one of the halflings with a squirrel on his head.
Yeah.
He's actually about to punt the acorn across the pitch. And he was kind of saying, look, the hobbit's running in the wrong direction. The squirrel's taking the game more serious than he is. It's like, and he had a little story for every single one of these.
Phil, are you familiar with Norman Rockwell?
No.
Okay, Norman Rockwell he's an incredible painter, artist, and this, if you look him up when you get a chance, this looks like Norman. I think it's Norman Rockwell quality. He does stuff. This of course he's not alive anymore, but this is stuff that they would use. He would paint stuff like Coca-Cola and for Christmas.
I know the artwork, certainly.
Yeah,
you're right. There's a certain look to this. Isn't there?
Does. That's the first thing that just really kicked out. I was a huge fan of Norman Rockwell and his stuff, and it's just, this is what it looks like. Incredible.
But seriously, this guy, he gave me like a 5-minute story on each one of these poses. They were all doing, one guy's celebrating and he shouldn't be. And there's another guy just stood with the ball under his arm and a hand in his pocket, and he simply doesn't realize that once you've got the ball, you need to do something with it. He's looking in the wrong direction while the orcs are bearing down on him. He had all these little things going off in his head about these great characters. So absolute kudos to the designer. But let's move on.
Band-Aid on the belly. That's just insane.
Yeah, I know.
Sam Stocks, good to see you, my brother.
Hey, Sam. So next up, this is the new terrain, and it's huge and incredible and amazing.
Wow.
It's ginormous. This is the Age of Sigmar terrain. I still think you could probably use it in 40k games.
I sure as heck would.
Some kind of ancient ruin or something like that.
Yeah.
It's much bigger than it looks. It's 2 inches high. Perfect line of sight blocker, especially if you double stack it. I'm just going to click until you get the close up of the semicircle, and you can kind of see the detail on top.
Wow.
Stunning. All modular. So all the columns and the little fire pieces and stuff like that. There's all these little bits you can stick into the steps.
Oh, look at that column with the runes.
Yeah, you've clicked onto the column, yeah. So again, I was picking that up. Poor guy who was having such a hard time keeping on all the pieces. He was like, have I still got everything? Because obviously they're so worried someone's going to walk off with a piece.
The detail.
And I think if you go to the painted version of it, then you can kind of see it.
Oh my gosh, shut up and take my money.
That's amazing. And it's huge, by the way. I've just finished. I'm working on my latest version of my little Battleforge. Does that show up my Battleforge on camera, I think?
Oh,
there you go. So I was telling him about this because I am definitely going to get some of that terrain and get those fire braziers glowing away like that,
Oh, this is so beautiful. This is,
incredible.
And the next up, really, just briefly, the new Wild Woods. These are replacing the old Wild Woods. And, there's a couple of things going off here. One, they're far more easier to build. They're far more robust. Two, the base is specifically designed to provide the outline to the area terrain of the wood. So think about moving your unit into that space. Now you can move the unit into that space and they are in the woods.
That's something that frequently comes up against Wargamers here in 8th edition too, is are they considered in the woods? Are they not? That's perfect.
There you go. And it's modular. So you could take 6 of these. He said this is the whole thing. Get 6 trees and make a giant wood. And pop one in the middle or something like that. But because the footprint of the base is so small, it means you can kind of get your models in and out. And he was kind of demonstrating you can pick one up, move your unit into the center of two of them, place the third one back down. And because most people's solution to the Wildwood was to have the trees removable from the base. So as soon as your unit entered the wood, you pull the trees up and you just have a base on the table. And it just didn't feel like your models were in a wood because there was no wood there, you know. So
Right.
again, really nice design. This is the same guy who designed the terrain behind. And I think it's the same team who also designed the latest Sector Mechanicus terrain and the Imperialis terrain. So it's two guys, I think. There may be more, so I'm sorry, but if I've not done everybody credit, but I think it was these two guys that have done all the latest generation of terrain. And right at the front of their minds is these are gaming pieces. They need to work on the table.
That's incredible.
I think I've got a shot if you move on, if you're not already there, like from above, and then
Yep.
you demonstrate if you space them out,
Yep.
you can see. And then you've got some Sigmar statues. I know your guys are more 40k, so if you want to move on through the Sigmar stuff, that's cool. And you know, there's some shots towards the end of that Sigmar terrain where you see it back in the set. That's the set you purchased, basically. You know, when you can see them as set pieces there with the columns all around.
Wow.
And then I dropped my little model on there just for a sense of scale. You know, don't forget that's a Stormcast. So, you know,
That's
that's
cool looking.
a big model on a 40 mil base there, you know.
Hold on, let me get to that. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is it. Okay, so this is really cool because it gives more of I love Egyptian architecture, and this is what it really looks like. Looks like you got the Sphinx, you know, each one. Wow, that is just
Cute stuff.
and we've got guys drooling on chat right now, just looking at this too. This
Archie
is
says it would make amazing Thousand Suns terrain as well.
True, absolutely. It paints incredible for that. I think after that, you know, I'm not. I chatted to Sam Pearson, who was the author behind the Fire Slayers Battle Tome, and we had a good old chat about the kind of play of power within the unit makes-up. And you know what? It was absolutely brilliant to kind of chat to him about. He needs to be interviewed on the community channel because he was really interesting to listen to about how the playoff against units and rebalancing and how points were assigned. And you know, they try things, and he was kind of explaining, you know, okay, we get it wrong sometimes, and we have to fix those in, you know, in the chapter approved and whatever the Sigma version is called, General's Handbook. You know, but it wasn't. You know, I challenged him on a few things, and he stood by his work, and we had a good old debate, and it was good humoured and good fun. So all credit to Sam there; it was great stuff. And then we're into this wonderful. What I really like at this old school terrain. I don't know whether you're onto the Caradon Overlord terrain.
let me see. I'm at the Sam Pearson book here.
So just jump past one.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Onto so this is the Caradon Overlord terrain, and I really like this. So this is old school terrain making. This is blocks of polystyrene, a great big Christmas ball stuck on top of a bottle. Got them and seriously, that big ball up there is a Christmas bauble his wife bought for the Christmas tree, and they decided they were too big for the tree, so he stole it. So that band down the middle is just hiding where it was joined together at the factory, you know. And, you can see the wires and stuff like that, and you know, ping pong balls. But what they've got going on there is squig whales.
That's incredible to me because one of the things that really got me into the community was I fell in love with handmade terrain making and you know, quote unquote trash terrain making, and this really takes me there.
Yeah, I was grinning from ear to ear at this point. You know, you just go old school terrain making and big fat grins on everybody's faces who were looking at it. And if you've moved on a couple to the kind of squig whales where they're being, you know, prepared as sushi basically, and squig eels, he was calling them. Can you see those from above? The green things in the tray?
Yes, that's funny. Oh, that's so weird looking.
Dinner, you know, they've gone out, they've hunted dinner, and they're preparing it in these great big bowls ready for the Caradon Overlords to munch through.
That is so funny. Yeah, they're on these little these vehicles, but the tray above it. Yeah, that's pretty.
And they look vile. I mean,
yes, it's disgusting.
That's crazy. Archie
And then,
brings up a good point. Some of this could be repurposed for AdMech themed stuff too.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'll just skip on through the Caradron Overlord stuff, but there's a little road sweeper in there, which I put a little yellow vehicle. I don't know whether you've seen that one.
Yep,
If you've
I see it.
That's just cute. And there was even some, for the sharp-eyed ones, we'll spot some old school 1980s
Oh, that's
dwarves in
cool.
there as
This
well.
is like steampunk. This is really cool.
I love that. That is so AdMech-y.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quick
And
shout out to Orc Boys and Edict Beer 40K who have joined us in the chat. Good to see you.
Nick.
Hey, Nick. And you can see, oh, right, okay, we're on to AdMech stuff now. So this might be more your audience. If you've made it to the AdMech transport, yeah?
Yeah, there they are. There you go, Mythos.
So what do you think, Mythos?
I'm freaking amazed. There was a lot of rumors that it was going to be that massive 30K transport that came to 40K, and I think it looks amazing, but I didn't necessarily want something the size of a Mastodon or the price of a Mastodon. This is fantastic. This reminds me of all the different pictures I've seen of the beaches of Normandy, but for AdMech.
Yeah, that beach lander.
Yep.
And what I really like about this is the main thing I discussed with him, besides getting into a really technical discussion about how you position everything on the sprue, but that's another story. The main discussion I had, why a hover car? Because it is a hover car, by the way. This is meant to be, and it's old school. It's not repulsors. It is fans blowing air down to the ground.
Right, a hover.
The cushion of air that you can hover on, basically. That's what he was saying. No, it's a hover car, And we were kind of talking about that's why the bumper's there, to protect the skirts as it's moving forward, and why that? And he was saying because everybody was expecting legs,
That's funny. That is so funny.
That's so trolly.
Right?
Also, he made a point as a troop transport. If you're on legs, you're probably up high, unless it gets really wide. You have to kind of mount the legs high and go wide. And he didn't want that. And he was kind of saying, we're just looking at different things, and we came up with this, and then the whole Normandy lander and, the beach lander. And I was saying that's so AdMech, because they care so little about their troops, don't they? So the doors at the front.
The beaches of Normandy, then.
Yeah. You charge towards the enemy under masses of fire.
Yeah.
And while all the bullets are ricocheting off, all the last shots are ricocheting off the door, it just opens, and everybody's like, ah.
Yep.
And then the alternate build there is a light tank, he described it as. So it doesn't carry troops. It's not got a partial troop transport aspect to it. It's simply a light tank for the AdMech. So 2 different, slots in the Force Org there.
Nice.
Well, now I have to buy 2.
Oh, God.
Of course you do. Really, you need to buy 4.
No, he doesn't. Don't encourage him.
I took a few different angles of it, so you've probably, maybe you've clicked through those for those of your viewers who want to see it from different angles. My favorite part, if you've got to the last image, which is from the side, is how these things turn. They turn like the hover cars. They've got the little blade at the back, directing the air from left to right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, loved it.
I wonder what their transport capacity is going to be.
Not a lot. I don't think it could be 20, couldn't it? So I think realistically it's probably going to be maybe 12, because that gives you a unit of 10 and a hero, doesn't it?
That's still fair.
12. If I put 12 Electro Priests on Freak's back line, that's still good. That's a good day.
Yeah. That's when I shake his hand and move on. Yeah, I'm done.
Do you think Electro Priests aren't? Do they? Because there is no transport yet for AdMech, so they may take up 2 slots anyway. Electro Priest is a pretty big guy, isn't it? They may go around that way with it. Just like they did with Wraith Guard and Terminators and the rest, isn't it? They have those things take up 2 slots.
That's a really good point.
And then we were on to Warcry, really. And this was the crowdest. There was a huge crowd around here. So I just kind of reached my camera over a couple of shoulders and grabbed a couple of images, and then accidentally took some pictures of some trolls thinking they were Warcry models, and they were. And then I'm moving on to the Beast Arises, if you can see this giant orc. And you do have to look at it wide and look at the Marines next to him. So this is the Beast from 32K, the Beast Arises book series.
Wow.
Why is it gotta be Imperial Fist, man? Come on. Why everybody's picking on the fists?
Have you read The Beast Arises? Because
No.
there's a lot about Imperial Fist in that book. It's Jack fell in love with the Imperial Fist reading that book.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, they are so cool. But of course, that's the Beast. So how much of this is sculpted? This is entered into Golden Demon. We were kind of doing the kit spots. We were like, oh, that's off the so and so, and that's from the such and such tank. But after a bit, you're running out of just going, is that Orc head? Possibly was it a squig reworked? You know, you're kind of trying to work out how much plastic's actually in there.
So this isn't an upcoming model. This is a conversion entry.
This is a conversion from a fan out there that's entered it into Golden Demon. So I took a couple of shots of that.
That's incredible.
Close-up shot as well. So that squig is what I really liked about it was he's kind of playing with scale because he put the giant squig next to him, which if you stand back from the model, you just go, oh, this is like a 200 mil orc, scale orc with a squig next to him. And it's only as you got closer you realise, the Imperial Fists are laying at his feet, and it's actually no, this is still 32 mil or 28, whichever.
Yeah.
Whatever everybody's saying at the moment.
That's
yeah.
That's
Wow.
insane. And there's an Inceptor sitting up there. I don't like the Inceptors. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Have at them. Yeah. See, you suck. You can sit there and rot, you dope. Yeah.
I think we're almost.
How do you really feel?
Yeah.
We're almost at the end. I just grabbed a few shots. There was so much going off, but I just wanted to grab a few shots. This is Bandai.
That's a good close-up of it. Oh my gosh.
This is the Bandai model and the Bandai range that's coming out, and they still very much look like prototypes. As you can see, some of them are hacked together, and you've got the cute little dudes with the kind of weird scale change towards the heads. And then you've got the Marine at the back there.
Yeah, I want that large Bandai model. I want that. That is
all of them. I grew up with Bandai toys, and this is just amazing to me.
Okay.
I had my Gundams, I had my Power Rangers, I had so many Bandai toys that I need this in my life.
It is pretty cool. It was pretty cool. For me, scale-wise, I thought the hand was a little bit under scale, but, I kind of get they do that kind of, the Bandai stuff, they kind of have a style to them. So they've applied the Bandai style to Space Marine, haven't they, Because he gets, they love that kind of triangle shape, don't they? It kind of goes up and narrower towards the top. And they're trying to do that with a Marine, and I think if they'd have given him great big hands, it would have lost some of that lightness to the top half. So I get what they're doing, and but for me, I was like, that hand just looks a little bit too small. But saying that, it's a prototype, and I'm sure they're playing around with alternates at the moment.
That triangle shape does lend itself to kind of a superhero look, though. So
yeah, absolutely. I get what they're doing.
Yeah,
and,
is that a Korean codex for Space Marine?
I can only assume so. It
looks Korean. You got wow. They really.
Yeah. Between the Bandai, the Chibis, and the Korean Codex, plus the big release that they did this first big release in Japan, I mean, this is an obvious sign. Our awesome hobby is going more mainstream.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So there you go. I think that gets it to the end, really, and I hope I've not bored everybody with.
No, not at all. You kidding me? You ought to see the chat. It's just blowing up right now.
I really appreciate that you've taken us kind of on your journey or adventure through Warhammer Fest today.
Yeah, you allow us to live vicariously through your eyes, pushing children out the side. Move it. That's my spot. So.
Well, I saved everybody from the pictures of my burger. I tell you what, there's a couple of other things which I'm going to have to. I've realised I didn't take photos of, so this is one of the things I picked up, and hopefully it will work on my camera. So these are
markers.
Objective markers.
Oh, weighing them.
The kind of double-sided with both the kind of Sigma and the 40K.
Okay, they are plastic. Okay, they are plastic, right, Phil? Because
no, these are brass.
Oh, I weighing it so much.
Yep. So hold on, I'll clink them together.
Oh my gosh! No way.
The nerd boner is real.
Oh yeah,
it's got a good weight to them. The next thing I picked up, I'm ashamed to say, is this dice bag.
You
Which,
carry them in an old school coin pouch? Oh, that's crazy.
But wait for it.
Dude.
This is brass dice.
Freak, why didn't we go?
Oh my gosh.
We should have gone, Freak.
Oh my god.
You got like 10 brass dice. Oh, they're quite weighty. And then the last thing, and there was a range of this on. This is the
Dice
Warhammer
tray.
Community dice tray. So, and I'm a sucker for a dice tray. So I got one of
He's
these.
doing an unboxing right here in front. Oh my gosh, that's it. I'm done. I'm done.
Could you roll some dice for us? I love the
Yeah,
sound.
please. Let's see. Let's
Yeah,
see.
you know what? I'll put my brass dice in there then. That will. There you go.
Oh.
I think that works.
That's awesome. That's awesome. If I
So
could
I
just-
should say that's like a mouse. That's a mouse mat material on the bottom.
oh,
So that's
quality.
Like, exactly.
I
like
want
that
it didn't
material.
sound loud and woody.
Freaking want one.
When
So
you,
I actually, I'm probably going to do that as a giveaway at some point. I think, but on the website, but because it's one of
Mythos,
those.
do not enter. Mythos, do not enter. Do not enter. I'm gonna try. If you enter, I don't. Need you too, Nick. If you're watching, where's Nick?
But I think I will do it. I'll probably do it as a giveaway because the reality is the dice trays we use for the battle reports and stuff. They're all like designed so we can.
branded, right?
Yeah. Well,
It's
I might want one of
beautiful.
yours too. I think I might want to get
It
one
was
of yours.
it was definitely an impulse buy, and I was just like, wow! And there's literally as I paid for it, I was like, oh, why did I?
Well, I don't know if you can get a WGO one, Freak, because I think they were made specifically for their battle reports.
Really? Way to ruin my hopes and dreams there, Mythos. Thanks a lot.
I'll get one too.
Dirk.
with Spares. We'll get some spares. Give me your post address, and we'll get something over to you.
Eh.
Just to catch up on the chat. Let's see. Archer says he wants the contrast paints badly. Running Bear says we all need to call out once in a while. This goes back to me calling out brother Ethan, who I noticed has not responded since then. I think I may have chased away a friend. Archer says he wants that terrain for Thousand Suns and that temple. Orkboy says good evening, Mythos freaking Phil. Eating Beer 40K says yo. Judge Guy says he wants the statue just to paint up as a bust. I think that's the one of the Sigmar guy, that
Yeah.
statue bust.
Good point. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to paint the whole thing. Orc Boy says, wow, looks like Tomb King scenery.
Yep.
And then I lost the chat. Oh, there we go. Those are sexy. Grumpy Guy Gaming says hello to all the freaks. Hello, Grumpy.
There you go.
Holy Jeebus, that's a big orc. It looks like the Beast Scratch build used the new Mangler squig heads. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Running Bear says, got to go. Share this with and
Glad you got
to go and share this with us.
Yeah.
Now, so when they're bringing back squats, if Nick enters, we're all doomed. The giveaway.
Yes.
He's not wrong. He's
He
not
does
wrong.
have a reputation for winning every giveaway, doesn't
Yes. And Mythos.
Nick is definitely a frequent winner of things. I can't say anything though. I've been blessed a few times myself.
he? Oh man.
Phil is doing his Holly impression from Red Dwarf.
You guys know Red Dwarf?
I have watched about 2 episodes when I was much younger. Be honest with you, much younger than I can remember right now.
Well, Holly was a computer and basically was just a head floating with a black background. And I kind of figure with the lights off behind me, the black t-shirt, just a floating head, basically. So, yeah.
Okay, so for my generation, like Zordon.
yeah.
Ross Middleton says, hey guys. Al Kirkham says, evening all. What do we think about the new paints? I think the new paints look amazing so far, and our man Phil actually got to paint something up with them.
Yeah, I'll definitely be adding. Am I going to go out and impulse buy the entire range? Probably. No, I'll work my way through them. I think they are, for me, definitely something I'd want to add to the arsenal. Things like that red for the base color, and then using things like, I'm a big fan of using the paints for purpose. So I don't particularly go one brand or another. I'm a little bit in love with watercolor right now. I really like glazing
Yep.
and building up with watercolor paints. And a lot of what I've been working on, I've been working on this. It's really hard to show, but like a pearl effect, which I've been working on.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks great.
Yeah.
In watercolor because I want to, pearl armor for the dudes I'm working on, the Island of Deepkin. So I'm really in love with those paints, but at the same time, there's a whole bunch of them amongst that range that I will definitely be using as base plus, if you like, for want of a better word.
See, Phil, now you've left me at an impasse, because last night on our stream I just did up a couple of ultramarine test models for my upcoming army, and now I don't know whether to keep my test or if I should wait for these new magic colors to come out.
Actually, that's a good question. When are they saying that they'll be coming out, Phil? Did they give a date?
Officially soon. That's all they'd say, with that big grin on the face like they do every time. Soon.
But with Games Workshop, that could mean like 8 months from now, or that could be like, oh, we
Tomorrow.
just announced this is going to be up soon. Okay, the next day it's like pre-release.
I don't think it will be long now. I don't think it will be long now because everything was there. They were there in mass. They were all labeled. The pots were all labeled up. There was thousands of them around for people to try. So if they're at that stage, it makes no sense for them to hold on for them for too long. They might as well get them on the shelves now, hadn't they?
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm really excited for this. Does anyone in the chat or Freakalicioso, do you have anything you'd like to follow up with as a question for our amazing bearded guest here?
I don't know. I'd like to, but he might just ignore me. Just saying, he might just. You might have to ask for me, because guys, here's the thing. I have slightly offended Brother Phil here, and I was deep in thought while I was doing my taking. He was going on talking. I really thought he was talking to Mythos, and I'm like trying to get show prep going, trying to get everything set up, and all of a sudden he goes, "Huh, freak." I'm like, and I think, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you were talking to me. He goes, oh, no, okay. No, it's okay.
That was fine. It was fine, mate. I took like 25
and
minutes.
he just did this. No, it's okay. It's all right. We're good. Mythos, you tell Freak I'm not talking to him. I'm only talking to you. Mythos.
It was quite funny. And then I uploaded all of those images, and you asked me to upload them somewhere else.
So I said, hey, how about you just send me all the pictures on Messenger, and I just pull them from there. Oh, you want me to do double the work, do you? Is that what you want me to do? I've already put all these together in one spot. Oh, but that's okay. No, I'll just go ahead and do more work because you asked me to. Yeah, here it goes. Click, click, click. And I say, oh, you know what? Looks like it's not going to work too well, so we'll just go back to.
This is amazing precedent you've set, Freak. Come on to Frosted Fist, where the tech guy will make you do all the work.
So yeah, I can imagine what they're going to be saying at Wargamer Online when he goes there, like. Yeah, we had a good chat with the Frost and Fist, with freaking Mythos, and Mythos was great.
So was a good guy. Here in June and July for the paints. Orc Boys is glad he pre-ordered Loon Curse because it sold out quick. And
don't tell me. I missed it. I was traveling and I missed the pre-order, and they're gone. Heartbroken.
Thor Dallum says evening.
Evening, sir. Thorley. Good to see you.
Yes, that. I would like to point out that I am something of a teacher by trade, so it's in my job scope to butcher people's names. I apologize in advance.
So I'm trying to think whether there was any. Oh, there was one other thing. Now this was a little bit of an. So this is one of will this fit on camera?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it's
amazing.
Oh my gosh. No way. Is that leather and canvas?
That is canvas, but it's a really heavy canvas. So I was quite impressed with it. It's quite
I want it.
And there's even a laptop pouch at the back there as well. So you can kind of
Facebook symbol representing.
Oh my goodness.
So I use an iPad for all of my battle tomes and codexes and stuff like that. So I like to carry that. So the idea that they put a laptop bag, and that's from one of the you know, the people who've bought the license, one of the licensees.
Yeah.
And much to my shame, I can't remember the name of which company it is. You can buy them. So these are available to purchase. They weren't specials for the event or anything, but I think they were reduced at the event. So that would have been, I think the actual sell price was about $50, rough translate, you know, rough, and they were doing them for about $35 at the event.
That's amazing. Oh man, that looks like such a nice bag.
Do you think they'll have those for sale in public, or
they're sale through a licensee? So if I can remember the name of it, it's the guys who are doing all the mugs and cups and everything for.
Okay.
You know, I've seen them on Amazon. So give me a second, actually, and I'll get the name of them, and you chat for a second.
Okay.
Speaking of the chat, so Coleman says, "Oh, lad, you got filled big time."
Yeah. He filled me okay. Yeah, I was filled hard. Yep.
I don't know where you're going with that. Let's have a look at the brand. I've found the company that does it, but it doesn't actually mention who they are. So hold on a second.
Yeah.
I'll give up. You can get their tankards and stuff. If you go onto Amazon and search for Warhammer 40,000 glass tankard, whoever the company is that does those official licensed tankard stuff, they're the ones that are releasing the bag.
Awesome.
Hopefully, we'll be able to order them over here. I've noticed that with some of the tankards and coffee cups, they have been UK only.
Yep, exclusive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
like the last coffee cup I got, somebody that lived in the UK offered to pick it up for me, and then I pay them, and then they send it over to me.
Oh, well, I can do that for you. You just let me know what you want. You know, like everybody in America, just let me know what you want, and I'll provide a shipping service.
You might actually get it.
Half Moon Bay is the company. So Half Moon Bay.
I just want to be bad right now.
Note that right here.
I'm going to behave, Mythos. I'm going to behave. I promise you, we'll be good. We'll be good. Just saying.
Right. Okay. So it was great. It was great to see you, Mythos.
See, there he goes. See, what did I say? But he's doing it here. He's doing it here in the channel. He didn't wait to go on his channel.
It has been absolutely an amazing time having you here and sharing your experience with us, Phil. Thank you so much for coming on.
That's all right, guys. I'm here for as long as you want me. I don't know how long you plan for tonight's show to be, but you know, I'm happy to hang around. But I don't know. What was your plan?
I can't imagine that anybody that's watching our channel is not subbed to Wargamer Online.
There's something wrong with you.
You are not.
Surprise.
And hit that sub button because this is an incredible channel, incredible guy. Definitely make sure that you are subbed to Wargamer Online. Like I said, I've been a fan since 100 subs, and I will continue to be a fan until eventually I know Phil's going to overtake, mini wargaming.
Yeah, it's going to happen. That's around the corner.
I'm not quite sure about that one. I think those guys are on a kind of meteoric climb, aren't they? But they do incredible content. Let's face it, it's amazing.
I'm telling you though, the quality of your content rivals. It really, really does, and that's what really attracted me to Mythos, to your channel, especially me. Okay, I look at the video quality, the content, not the content, but the video quality. You know, how you not produce, but how you actually how you present. The presentation is phenomenal, and that's what attracts me. That's what I love. It's clean, very, very symmetric. Everything is in perfect, everything's perfectly lined up, and that's for me important. So because of that, I really wanted to emulate that. So no, man, you guys got it going on.
Oh man, thank you. Just to say, actually, I'll do one plug. Monday nights I do a Monday Musing, and that is usually 9 p.m. UK time. Tomorrow night is probably going to be 8 p.m. because I need to do it a bit earlier.
Yep.
And that's because I've got a guest joining me. So Rachel's coming to do Monday Musing tomorrow night. So I have no idea what the show is going to be about. It's going to be like a Rachel takeover.
With Rachel, it's a wild card anyways. So.
Yeah, well, exactly. She's random as hell, so who knows what's going to happen. But we've been saying we'd do a Monday Muse together for about 5 weeks now, and every time she could do it, I wasn't available, and then the reverse kept applying, and we were lined up for I think 2 weeks ago, and then I got this terrible sore throat, so I could barely speak, and I really didn't want to give Rachel like a cold or anything, because we all have work to do, don't we? So. I was like, I just quarantined myself for the night. So I think we're finally on for tomorrow night on Monday Musing.
That's awesome.
Hold on, that won't be tomorrow night. That's Sunday. So I did mention I've been traveling this week, so I've lost what day I'm in. But so no, sorry, Monday night. So that's 2 days time. So yeah. Thank you very much, the Alt Boys.
I'm also going to do a quick plug. If you want more of this high-quality Wargamer Online content, please go to wargameronline.com for just a sub of, $2.99?
Yeah, $2.99. Yes, it is.
Yeah, $2.99 a month. You can get access to all kinds of amazing content for their premium subscription.
Oh, bless you, Mythos.
So.
No, it's been great. It's great to see you guys because you said you've been watching us from 100 subs. We've been watching you before we even launched the channel. So love your stuff. I've always loved your stuff, and you're such a whole load of energy out there on the internet. And I try and catch your stuff, but because of the time difference, I rarely hit the live shows. I think I made one about 4 weeks ago, didn't I? And I was like, like for 2 minutes, and I was in there. And I was like, yes, I'm here, and then I think I fell asleep. So,
well, you know what? Something that I think is attractive to Mythos and I. This is really how we are in real life. So this is not. And sometimes it's worse, so we actually scale it down, because we're like, hey, I'm sure there are kids that watch this, so we need to not, we're getting letters from parents, how dare you speak bad like this in front of my kids? I'm like, oh, even grown folks like, oh my God, you really said that? I'm like, I knew they were like that. I knew, especially that freak fella. Yeah.
You're quite bad. I was surprised, actually. Just how you speak to me.
So, yeah, we have fun. But, yeah, this is how we are in real life. Yeah, so.
Evening, Brother Lars. Unfortunately, we are about to close it down. Again, thank you so much to our guest. Thank you so much to Freak for putting on the show. Technically, and again, if you guys enjoyed today's, it's our first time doing a show this early in the day, but if you guys enjoyed today's content, then grab up an axe and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. And of course, again, if you're watching the recap, drop us some comments down below, be part of the conversation. And if you guys are not yet subscribed to Wargamer Online, why wouldn't you be? Or if you're not subscribed to this channel, then we would love to have you as part of the pack here on the Frost and Fist. So until next time, guys, stay frosty.
Stay frosty.